HaKadosh, Boker Or, I wanted to share with you an incredible idea that has to do with the month of Elul. Do you know that every single night in Arvit, we come and we say, Ve'aser Satan milefanenu umeacharenu. Please remove us the Satan from before and afterwards. What exactly does this mean? We have given in the past a few different explanations, but today we're going to share a different one. Something actually very incredible. And basically, there was a story. What happened was, it was Erev Rosh Hashanah. And there was a rabbi that he was invited to a yeshiva to speak. All of a sudden, he comes in, he's going to give a shiur chizuk. Imagine he's going to try to strengthen everybody. Listen, tomorrow's Rosh Hashanah. Let's, we have to. He comes in, and also he says, Chevra, what's going on over here? It's Erev Rosh Hashanah, Erev Yom Adin, last day of the year. And they're dancing and singing. They're drinking l'chaim. And where? In the Beit HaMidrash. He's looking. He's saying, well, it's Purim today. Yeah, this is Erev Rosh Hashanah Tavshin Samech Chet. So we're talking about 10 years. It's the Ein Chet. 68. So this is 2008. Just to understand. In the year 2008. So what happens is, there was a Bachurim Yeshiva, that they were in a yeshiva that they needed help. So what happened is that he's coming, and imagine right now, Erev Yom Adin, when the next day that they already know that the book of life is open and the book of death, they don't know what's going on. And the more the people are afraid, right? They're afraid. I remember it once happened, that there was somebody that he went up for Shliach Tzibur, and he started clapping on Rosh Hashanah. And I remember my mashkiach went, and he started trembling. He says, Yom Adin, people could be dying the next year. You're going to start clapping? You understand? Meaning that it was something that, how could it be? It doesn't make sense. You understand? Here they're coming. Shots, l'chaim, in the Beit HaMidrash, singing, dancing. What's going on? So he comes and he says, I have to see what's going on. Now, who's the one that's actually going to be, finding out? So he's coming closer towards the yeshiva. He hears all the singing, the dancing, the this, that. He says, listen, what type of a shiur am I going to give here? He says, it doesn't make sense. Fine. All of a sudden he comes in, right? You hear the stereo, and he's trying to think, listen, who's the one that's going to be in charge? Probably, these boys. He comes in, and all of a sudden, he's shocked. Who's the organizer of the event? You know who the organizer of the event was? The Rosh Yeshiva. He comes, and he's like, I'm lost. Where did I go to? So he comes in, and the Rosh Yeshiva all of a sudden comes. So he comes with a serious face to the Rosh Yeshiva, and he's like, and he's, he comes, and so he comes and he shows him, he takes out a calendar, and he says, Kaftet, Elul, 29th of Elul, tomorrow Rosh Hashanah, Instead of answering him, he comes, he takes out a bottle, and he offers him to drink. He says, Bechavod, Gir, come. So he comes and he says, the rabbi is shocked. Who's this Rosh Hashiva? What's going on? He comes and he says, what? You're forcing me to drink? And he says, I'm not going to drink nothing until you explain to me what's going on. What's going on? So he comes and he says like this. Rosh Hashiva comes and he opens up and he says, 1 year ago, on Erev Rosh Hashanah, I called a boy that his name was Yossi. Yossi, he was already 20 years old, very smart, but he had one problem. He had a problem. He had an addiction. Whichever this addiction is, many times people have different addictions. It could be certain things. Sometimes it could be, alcohol. It could be drugs. It could be immoral things. It could be anything. He had an addiction. So what happened is that, he knew the severity of it. And he knew, but it was very difficult. It was very, very difficult. So he says, I know Yossi, and I know that he has a strong will and everything. And only if he really wants to, he could actually do it. So you know what I did? Last year, Rosh Hashanah, right? I went and I decided to do something. I called Yossi into my room after Shachrit, right? Remember, it's the last Shachrit of the year, and I told him, Yossi, you don't know how much I cherish you. I want to see you completely get out of it. I want to see you completely clean. I want everything out, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to mention nothing to you the entire year. Why was it? It's like, it's going, but I want to see you do it. I want to see you do it on your own. Instead of me coming and always, and I'm not going to say nothing. He takes out an envelope, right? And there's a lot of money in it. And he says, yeah, this is for you to come into, to support you, to give you the courage. It's yours. Yeah, the next time I want to speak to you is next year. And Be'ezrat Hashem in this room, right? He says, but I'm not going to speak to you beforehand. I could speak to you about everything else, but nothing to do with this. So I come, I give him the matafa, I looked him in the eyes, and he agreed. Sounds good, fine. All of a sudden, the year goes by, and I stood my ground. Meaning, I did not talk to him about it. 1 full year. This morning, after tefillah, right, I called him into my room, and I wanted to find out, no, did he do it or not? You'll see, he walks in, and his eyes are looking downwards. He's looking downwards. Yeah, and his hands are inside of his pocket. Yeah, so I come and I put my, my hand on his shoulder. I said, no, Yossi. Yeah. Again, nothing. He doesn't look up. He keeps quiet. Yeah. He takes out from his pocket the matafa, the envelope of the money, and he gives it to me. And it says, Lichvod Rosh Yeshiva Shali, from Rosh Yeshiva, I regret it, but I didn't pass the test. I tried day in, day out, and I fought very hard, and I tried fighting, but I fell again and again. And today, I just give up. There's nothing what to do. I'm a lost case. If I already thought that maybe I could get out of this, today I know very, very well that the answer is no. And this is exact money that you gave me last year. I apologize, right, that I came and I caused you suffering. Shana Tova Yossi. Yeah, all of a sudden, he finishes reading the letter, right, on the envelope. He looks up and he sees that Yossi's crying. I come and I tell Yossi, you know what? Sit down. Yeah, I come close to him, right? And I tell him, right, in his eyes, tell me, Yossi, you wrote down that you had a nisayon every single day, correct? Yes. So how many times did you fall? Now, you're going to ask this to a person. The majority of people are not going to really answer you. For sure, I remember. You remember? Okay, so tell me how many. So what? No, you look at it. He's going to tell us Rosh Shiva how many times he fell, right? How many times he wasn't able to strength. So he kept on putting pressure until finally he went and he said 50 times throughout the year. 50 times. So whether it's, again, alcohol, anything that it was, right? It could be drug abuse, it could be anything that you want. He fell 50 times in the year. But he said that he had a fight day in and day out, and he fell 50 times. The Rosh Shiva, he went and he took a calendar. He takes out a calendar, and he says, Yossi, I want you to listen to me very well. There are 365 days in a year. You yourself, you told me that this test was not just every few days. Every single day you had a trial. Every single day you had a test. And then I went and I screamed and I said, you were able to control yourself for 300 days? He says, so why are you only counting the 50 days that you fell and not the 300 days that you passed? That's what he told him. He says, for sure, many times when you're going to come and you had very strong days and you were with, whether it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu and your neshama, and nobody was there, and you could have fell. And you still went and you said, I'm not going to do it. And you were able to control yourself. You're able to withstand the Yetzer Hara. He says, you know how much that is? So if so, look how many Nisiyonot you have. Yossi, you're so great. What, do you think that I'm Tamim? You think that I don't know what it is to come and to overcome what it is, to control yourself, what it is? I don't have anything what to fix. I took the envelope and I gave it to him. I said, now we're going to come and we're going to make a big party. Why? You were able to come and win the Yetzer Hara hundreds of times. And that's going to be mechazek everybody. And Bezrat Hashem, next year, When you're going to come back again, you're going to be completely clean. He says, that's why today, says Rosh Shiva to this other rabbi, that's why today you are zocheh, you have the merit to be a partner in this simcha. And here, drink l'chaim. This rabbi, obviously, now he understood. He drank l'chaim and he said, from this story, I learned there are two types of cheshbon hanefesh. There are two types of something which is called self-introspect. One is negative and one is positive. The cheshbon negative, when we're talking about now the negative, we have to understand and do what we call an internal check. What is not good? What do we have to fix? What do we have to improve? Right? And that we have to do every single day, every single night. Right? And even more during the month of Harachamim V'Slichot, even more during this month of Elul. He says, Cheshbon Nefesh Zeh, we have to do it very precisely. We have to know what we have to fix, where we're going, what we didn't do, how we did it, what we didn't, all these things, right? And that's what we call that this bat, we have to know that with this Cheshbon Nefesh, there's a Satan Katan. There's a small Satan. Why? Because when we come and we start doing this, what happens is, it comes out that we're full of Averot and everything. So he comes and he starts telling us, you know what? There's nothing what to do. Imagine right now you come and you do a scan on your computer. And all of a sudden you come and you see all the things that you have to fix. If you're going to see a number which is too big, you're just going to say, you know what, and there's just too many things. There's nothing what to do. Right? And what's it going to help? Coming and starting accepting upon ourselves things, doing things. So many times we just pick up our heads and we say, no, forget about it. Right? And that's a Satan. And that's why his name is Ayat. In order to go against the Satan, we need to do a positive cheshbon nefesh. What is the positive self-introspect? To remind ourselves how many times we had a very difficult time to control ourselves, and we won. We actually went and we won. And that's where the Chavetz Chaim comes and he says, right, that for example, when he's talking about the entire concept of Lashon Hara, and he says a person has a doubt, should I speak Lashon Hara? Shouldn't I speak Lashon Hara? Even if at the end he did speak Lashon Hara, which means at the end he failed the test, he says he's going to receive an incredible reward for the fact that he had a fight, for the fact that he put on a fight. And he says, why? He says, because even though, right, he failed, he's called Shomrei HaLashon. He watches his mouth from speaking negatively. And this sin is much less than a person that just comes and speaks for no reason, Lashon Hara. Why? Because he put up the fight. He did something. The Mishnah in Masechet Avot says, Rabbi Shimon Omer, right? He comes and he says different things. Don't be a rasha in front of yourself. The Meiri comes and he says, anything which is so bad in his eyes, like a rasha in his eyes, so he's going to look like himself that he's a nothing. He's a nobody. And therefore, Kiru, what's he going to do? And he's looking at himself in a negative fashion. He says, why? He says, anyway, I'm already a rasha. So if I'm already such a bad person, what does it help? And that's what you're not supposed to do. You have to look at yourself and say, how many times did I pass? How many times did I fight? You're right. I failed. 100%. You could fail. But how many times did I pass? Imagine right now a boy comes to you from school and he says no, and he's crying. Okay, but what happened? No, I failed 3 tests. Okay, but how many tests were there? 20. So what about the other ones? I passed them. You're right. You failed 3 times. But as long as you pass the majority of them, you still have a passing grade at the end of the year. And the opposite, I go according to the efforts. I want to see that. I want to see how you're able to grow. And that's what Hashem wants from us. Just like the Rambam says in Yichot Teshuvah, the Rambam says, therefore, every single person has to look the entire year as if he's half Zakai and half Chayav. And the entire world also, half that they have the merit and half that they don't. And he says, if a person comes and he does a sin, so then he changed the entire world. If he does a mitzvah, he changes the entire world. The tzaddik is olam. What does that mean? Tzidek atzmo. He made himself into a tzaddik, and he caused the entire world to become better. And that's why Rabbi Yonah in Shar Avodah comes and he says, how should a person look at himself? Hapetach harishon. The first thing that you have to do is, you have to know your own value. You have to know your positives. You have to know your strengths, how great you are, how you're precious in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then you strengthen yourself until you're able to get out of the ta'ava, until you're able to get out of it. Because if not, how are you going to get out? How are you going to get out of all the dirt and all the thing if you have to pull yourself out? But because you're great, because you're something. Rav Yerucham came and he said an incredible concept. Listen to this very carefully. He says, woe to a person that he doesn't know his flaws. Why? Because he doesn't know what to fix. But even a bigger woe is to a person that doesn't know their true value, their good qualities. He says, because then he doesn't even know his own utensils, what to use. Which means, one more time, if a person doesn't know their flaws, you're right, he doesn't know his mistakes. So how's he going to fix his mistakes? It's not good. 100%. But says Rabbi Yerucham, you know what's worse than that? Somebody doesn't know what he has in his hands. Because imagine I would tell you right now, you have so many things in your hands, and you don't know what it's for. You don't know what to use it for. You don't know how to use it. I'll give you a car, but if you don't know what to do or how to use it, it's worthless. I could give you a phone, but if you don't know how to pick up and call and do something with it, it's useless. And I could give you another millions of things also. But if we don't even know what we have, I come and I see a car, it's a big piece of junk that I don't even know how to turn it on, where to turn it on, what to turn it on, how to use it, how fast it could go, where it could take me. I'm never going to get anything from it. So that's what the Yerucham comes and he says, that's even worse than not knowing our mistakes. Because you're right, if we don't know our mistakes, we don't know how to fix them. But if we don't know our true value and what we're actually worth, we'll never be able to grow anyway. Because we don't even know where we're actually able to go to that heights. A person, it could be that we're full of sins. But if you're going to come, you're never going to be able to come and actually defect your neshama. Because the neshama is pure. And the sins are something which are outside. And therefore a person actually understands that. And that's what we say every single morning. Some people say the word he or not, but that's what it says. Teorah he. It doesn't say it was teorah. It was pure. We had a pure neshama until we came and we defiled it. We came and we made it tameh. It says teorah he. Now it's tahor. The neshama is always tahor. The neshama is always pure. But that's even right now, it's pure. But we have to actually understand, in order to do teshuvah, it's not only just enough to do a self-introspect, which is for the negative, because that's for the night times. We also have to do it, the positives. Pay attention. It's true we fall. Everybody falls. But how many times did we improve? How many times did we fight and we won? And that's the most important. Because it's not about winning the battle. It's about winning the war. And that's why it's so important that we just have to understand that in essence is the light, right, of what we're supposed to pay attention when we're doing this, B'ezrat Hashem.